form when they took down Direwolves. Obviously, that was on Cafe as well. So maybe, guys, this is going to be the special map for Order. We head to the ban phase.
Yeah, let's see what we will see in this matchup. Cafe, again, I say it every time, but it's pretty stale in the current meta. So maybe the ban phase could throw up something new. Buck off the board. Pretty targeted here on Cafe. Quite a few opportunities for vert play if required, so being off the board means that we'll probably see teams that are a little bit more reliant on Sledge, for example. Thatcher in response though from Order, pretty expected.
Don't tell me this is, you're going to say it. This is a pretty normal ban process so far. This is going to plan. I want to see at least
one. Is a little bit strange, but
one crazy, you know, sort of ban here on the defense would be kind of nice. I mean, the buck also kind of makes sense at the same time as well, really, with the vert mirror ban. Yeah, pretty stock standard.
Yep.
If you had to take a guess, what do you think for the last one? This is an insta-lock, basically, here.
Wamai Jaeger.
Oh,
I was right.
Okay. You shouldn't have even said the Jaeger. You should have just backed yourself in there.
Well, actually, I should have backed myself in with Wamai, and unfortunately, I didn't get a couple more seconds to, because I was actually looking at Invictus's match history, and they banned Wamai literally almost every single game, with a couple of exceptions, and that's across multiple maps. So I probably would have said Wamai had I looked at the numbers, but I just got the impression that, yeah, projectile denial off the board would make things a little bit more interesting. Opens up the opportunity for the Ying, for example, to be in play a little bit more maybe, or any projectile for that matter. I mean, could have even seen Fuse. Teased there by Nico. Yeah, across the board though, a projectile denial on Cafe being taken out. Not too unexpected. It makes a lot of those strongholds that traditionally were difficult to get through in the util dump meta phase, not really so much of an issue anymore.
It's an interesting proposition, this matchup, because when you obviously look at Order's losing streak, 5 matches from between OCN and APAC South, predominantly, of course, from OCN, 4 out of the 5. Their last victory being on Cafe, in fact, right? So that was against Direwolves. I don't know if you can hear that sound, but that sounds really weird to me. Either way.
Bit deep fried.
Yeah. It sounds like he's shooting through like a microphone or something. But the fact that, of course, their last victory was, in fact, Direwolves on Cafe, APAC South, maybe sets up for what could be, you know, the end to this losing streak. In saying that, though, of course, Invictus have looked pretty good. They've also had recent success on Cafe as well. So I would not be surprised if this is the kind of game that really does go back and forth, that kind of does, you know, maybe even go to OT, for instance. Oof. Yeah, calling it
You're more optimistic than me. Honestly, this is, for me, an Invictus easy win. Starting on the defense as well. I don't know what the numbers are currently in APAC South or globally for that matter. Probably not actually that heavy in towards defense on this map at the moment, but yeah, Invictus, for me, easy win here. I'm not expecting more than 10 rounds to be played here, to be frank.
Wow.
Invictus 7-3 or better is my expectation heading into this matchup, just based on Order's form being honestly pretty poor, and Invictus really strong, but I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. I would love a close game.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay, Spec is going to lose this one out to Luna.
How did, wait. Why did Luna jump out, and how did he win that fight? Well, he got rid of the nomads, so now Invictus can jump out even more freely if they wish.
Yeah, crazy start to this game. And look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think when you look at the track record here of Order on Cafe, and then, you know, having started the season well, maybe this is going to be the map where, hey, the last time we did well was here. Let's do what we did well and try and do that again. Not quite the best entry from Nico. Top red, and Jordan's going to find the easiest kill ever. And so far, honestly, not the best start either, although Jack Dad's able to drop down, get that kill onto Jordan. Still a minute and 45 seconds remaining as well. Bailey's got the Gemini down there too to get some extra information, take out that Soyuke, allows Jack Dad now to walk through, but it has been barricaded off.
Castle on board here from Joe, no Sledge for Order to be able to deal with that, so it could pose some issues. Grenades could be used, or Nate with the X-Kairos, neither of which are really going to be that effective. Oh, Jack Daddy needs to be careful. He doesn't get his head taken off by Luna deep inside of that piano position as he looks to create a line of sight, potentially an entry point over towards top red. Shots rain out, but Jack Daddy won't find his mark. A lot of time being wasted here by Order.
Still a minute remaining. It's only a one-man advantage for Invictus. Jack Dad's spending a lot of time. Luna dropping out once again. This time able to not come back though. 3 versus 3. Still a lot of time on the board here for Order. They were down 2 players. They were down a 5 versus 3 head start for Invictus, but they brought it back and they edged closer to maybe stealing this round.
Stoics down below, maybe going for a play or seeking safety if it towards top white. Bailey can Gemini forward and see who's on site for Invictus. The final calls will go out from Order as they prep for this execute.
Last 20 seconds of the opening round. Third match of the day here for Playday 3 of APAC South. Comes to a bit of a stalemate at the moment, but now the going gets tough here for Order. Yeah, not too surprising. With 20 seconds left, Invictus still having key players in key areas that weren't quite flushed out. It was never going to be easy to push onto site.
Yeah, no real pressure established on Freezer or Backstore exposing that position. You could see the boot jam is still up there in washrooms, for example, and 90 being held again still by Invictus. So Order doing a decent job to clear out shop and the red drop into piano, etc., especially off the back of that run out or jump out from Luna really early, which was quite costly. They still did recover to some extent, but yeah, Invictus playing the smarter siege at the end of the day. They knew the positions that they could still hold, that were still reinforced. They just played off that. Didn't have to do anything fancy and lock out the round.
Well, I was going to say it was a really good start for Invictus, right? But you get those first 2 kills. Yeah, a bit of a weird one with Luna outside twice in that entire round. But then also, I think for Order's sake, to be able to sort of bring that round back a bit, 3 versus 3, close to site. Sure, they weren't able to execute the plant inside a bar, but for the most part, they didn't just capitulate. They kept that round going and alive and made something of it. They were able to bring a couple back. So good to see. Good signs, I think, from both teams, fair to say. Still, Invictus get the round win. That's all that really matters. And we head downstairs.
Invictus continue to bring the castle out here. Now, again, not an operator that doesn't see any play on Cafe, but it can be a little bit niche. And with Sledge available, in fact, probably being lent into for that vertical, or at least we would anticipate, it hasn't been so far by Order. It is an interesting pick, but Invictus backing it up. We've seen 2 of them used on the eastern side here of the top floor, and another one actually inside of Backstore to make that position a little bit more difficult to flush out. So no doubt Invictus really wanting to hold Cocktail and really stall out Order for as long as possible. I am genuinely surprised that Order aren't electing to bring the Sledge for that vert, for those grenades, but maybe the Yana in substitution might be the play to gain that forward intel.
Invictus with a +5 round differential to start this stage. They've been winning their games and winning them comfortably. Specker, I'm sure this time not looking to go out too early. In fact, he's the one that finds the opening pick onto Jordan. Order just going straight for sight here, ignoring above altogether. Speakeasy's got to find this kill instead of mining. He will see the barrel of the gun. Needs to check the window as well. Oh, the timing is everything though. Specker looked away. Nate was covering, and he was able to at least get the trade. Guz makes it a 4 versus 2.
Joe forced to rotate back down, but Luna will put up a final stand here inside of Cigar Lounge. Now isolated as Nico sees him go towards the western side. Order should be able to pinch Luna out, make him pay, gets lit up, but able to retreat. At least, wow, for a little bit.
Makes it a 4 versus 1. That's going to be the round. Joe does get 1. Has information on 1 above as well. Can kind of play off of this a little bit if he pushes forward into mining. Swings get this play to the right. Oh, he didn't see where Jack Daddy was rotating to. And the round goes to Order.
Yeah, a lot cleaner there in the early round from Order, able to find those picks. Once they had that man advantage, you could see that Invictus, rightly so, tried to rotate off, at least Joe did. Luna went for a little bit of a hero play and didn't quite work out. It was always going to be tricky up above like that. A lot of angles that he was exposed to, and yeah, Order doing a good job to just close out the round in the end. Every dangerous play there, or potentially dangerous play there, particularly I think that one from Speakeasy there inside of mining, was shut down. It could have been a little bit cleaner from Order, but at the end of the day, they got it done. We didn't see them just completely fall apart, which was nice.
Yeah, and that's sort of reiterating what I was saying in the first round. Good signs from both teams, right? Coming in here, it's very easy to say 7-3 IG and look at their histories, but as I was trying to sort of get at here is that I think this is an opportunity for Order. There's also less expectations on them, and in a way, I almost feel like this roster, this team, this is where they generally provide their results. When there is no expectations on Order, it's almost whenever they actually get those expectations to do well that they kind of crumble a little bit under that, and that's where they get that inconsistency from. But, you know, for Order's sake, they're coming into this game. They've lost 5 in a row. How much worse could it really get? A team like Invictus is obviously playing well, so all the expectation, all the pressure is on IG.
Well, it depends what your perspective is on pressure, right? Invictus have the pressure in finishing first and qualifying for the major and being any chance of making SI. But on the flip side as well, Order do have that relegation storyline as well. I think it's easy to forget that. And that now, again, I do agree to you to an extent. It probably doesn't, you know, directly translate to pressure in this matchup because Order probably aren't really expected to win it. But it does get to the point, and I mean, we're not far off that, where Order need to be winning every single game possible to better their chances of escaping the bottom 2 for relegation. So, yeah, I don't think there's necessarily direct pressure on them in this head-to-head. Invictus are clearly the stronger team, but it has to be lingering in the backs of their minds a little bit, right? They can't consistently continue to perform like this, and they don't have a long time to turn it around. We are almost, in fact, we are at basically the halfway point already of stage 3.
Yeah. Straight bakery push here from Order. Oh, Nico's just taking a big chunk of damage. They're very much committed with this push, though.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Nico could definitely push through. How's Invictus going to adapt to this, though?
They have a lot of information to work off. Bulletproof cameras. And with Echo and Maestro in play, no shortage of information. Well, you've even got Valkyrie. I mean, 4 out of their 5 operators provide direct intel, and well, 3 out of 5, and then 2 indirectly with the Banshees and the Sawyer Gate. So a lot to work off here, but how can Invictus play off that intel? Jordan downed 1, killed another. Speakeasy elsewhere did find his mark. Nate and Specker now alone. It is effectively a 2 versus 2 as Joe has been downed. A messy start to this round for both teams.
Yeah, Jordan's still in a really good position, though, inside of Cooking, can really keep Bakery at bay. And that's where the last 2 players are going to be located, Nate and Specker. That was the down player, by the way, that got eliminated. So as Gus said, 2 versus 2. Nate, getting rid of Jordan here is going to be the play. And if he can find it, he does. Opens things up immensely. Luna, though, now he's playing at the very back of the site. He's in freezer at the moment, has that deployable shield. But what this allows, guys, is for Nate and Specker to push onto site into Cooking.
You can see pings being flown out. Everyone is spectating information here to aid Luna. He goes for a play down the long corridor as Nate attempts the plant. Specker has the cross, but it's not the right one. Unfortunately for Luna, though, that planter is covered and it will be stuck edge to give away his position.
Yep. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Luna, though, he's getting absolutely bombarded from utility. Placed by Order and used by Order. Can't win that shot against Specker either. Full credit to Specker and Nate there. Most importantly, Nate getting that kill onto Jordan really opened up the site and allowed Specker to actually push in and get that down. The diffuser down. I missed the word there. Pretty important one.
Yeah, it was actually really well composed there in the 2v1 from Order. Well and truly a losable round from that perspective. Now, we didn't quite get to see exactly where that remaining information was there from for IG available to relay to Luna. So I don't know how much of it was relevant. We would kind of see them toggling between spectating him and the intel. So I'm not entirely sure as to, you know, if they could see where those remaining players were for Order. Yeah, but as I mentioned, the attack doing a good job to just close it out. Nothing fancy. They isolated Luna, particularly off the back of that air jab. They didn't get too flustered and really try and chase that kill and risk, you know, turning it into a winnable 1v1 for Luna. They just choked him out with time, forced him into an uncomfortable and unwinnable position, and now they have the lead.
It's only an early one, though. It's only 2-1, but good signs for Order. Not just the fact that they've got the lead. It's very easy to say, oh, you know, they're winning, good signs. But like the way that they are playing, it's probably some of the best Siege we've seen, at least for a few weeks, because they have obviously been struggling immensely. They've had some decent signs, like even against Chiefs in the local league a couple of days ago was better. They were keeping up with them for the most part, and obviously Chiefs being the Chiefs in OCN, in the local league, kind of pulled away. But you could see signs of life there from Order. And you've got to remember, this is a team, new coach, maybe new identity, new things that they want to try. And sure, it hasn't been working out recently, but that roster is stacked. And it's why when they beat Direwolves in Play Day 1, the expectations were for them to maybe even make top 4. Could still be achievable. You get a shock win here, and suddenly they're on 6 points, and they're in the top 4. This is a very open Stage 3 for APAC South, so they've got an opportunity here. While they're still not considered the favorites, we'll see if they can continue on. Early signs are good, though.
Time to make a new door.
Stepping into Gemini.
Once again, Order looking to get Red Hatch control, drop down into shop and see what they can do from there. No explosive jump outs or run outs just yet from Invictus, like their last attempt of this site, which really helped propel them forward and stunted the growth of Order on their attack. On this occasion, though, they should be able to apply a lot more concentrated pressure, particularly on this position. Jordan inside of shop. Lots of mute jammers to try and disguise his position, ADS devices as well to cover from projectiles, but he continues to be droned out here quite relentlessly by Order. Now, no one's dropped the hatch to try and play off that just yet, and that Soyogate can be reactivated eventually. As we can see now, it has been. Another projectile will need to be spent by Order, who are finding it quite tricky to flush up this position.
Yeah, and remember back to the opening round, this was sort of the problem for Order more than anything, dropping top red. They lost 2 players, well, they definitely lost 1 dropping down. Jack Dad's going to be the first one to go through, the Maverick, and you don't want to be losing him, and he got Jordan very low. So even if they haven't been able to flush him out, he is basically not going to be offering much, and yeah, they do get the kill in the end. This is already 2 times as good as the opening round where they were down 2 players and couldn't quite get top red control for so long. Minute left on the round. They can play off of this now if they can flush out the player towards Washrooms and Pixel.
Yeah, this is the next critical point for Order. They need to clear out this Pixel position. They didn't do it last time. It proved costly, and they only have about 50 seconds to go with, so they really need to start speeding this up. Soyogate to deal with. I don't know if this wall's muted, but that could make it quite tricky to open up as well if Nate wanted to open lines of sight. So Luna really needs to do a good job here of holding down the fort. Just waste as much time as possible and prevent Order from getting control inside of Lounge.
Oh, some nice shots from Luna. Was able to get a tag onto Nate. In fact, even got the elimination onto Jack Dad. Makes it a 4 versus 4. 30 seconds remaining, and I think it's falling apart here for Order. They are struggling to open up these walls. The mute jam is making it hard on the ex-Kairos, I think.
20 seconds left now. Speakeasy deep inside a cocktail. Another powerful position. Hysterics though elsewhere finds one, and there we go. The swing from Speakeasy eventually punished, leaving Nate and Bailey in a very tough position.
But they haven't cleared out Luna though. Washroom still is his domain. Oh, never mind. Bailey just turns around, catches his head. Nate's on site planting the diffuser. Needs to be covered from Bailey, who does so, but unfortunately gives away his life in the process. Still, 1 versus 2 could be winnable. No, it's not. Nate goes down immediately. Well played from Joe and Hysterics and Invictus. Fight back. They take the 4th round, and I gotta say, guys, my early game discussion about going back and forth, so far, eventuating.
Yeah, the top floor attack from Order, honestly, a little bit sloppy. Probably quite lucky to get the entry frag there onto Luna, who still, again, had Washrooms uncontested over towards Pixel. We didn't see Order clear that on the first occasion, nor on the second. So they had that going for them, Order, to be able to get that pick and get in towards site. But then the players left to kind of freely roam around, the likes of Hysterics, I think it was, for example, to be in a position to make a play. Unfortunately, did prove to be really, really costly, and yeah, it seems to just be a site that's quite tricky for them to deal with. Not sure how much of that is necessarily the setup. It does look to be quite open and aggressive from Invictus, almost as if they're playing with a mirror on the board, which she isn't. She was banned by Order, so don't know, some teething issues there for the attack, but now we get to see them switch it up. Of course, Invictus forced off, need to go over towards reading and dining, and it is still a very, very close matchup, 2-2 to score.
Yep. And this is where Order was successful as well. Of course, so far it's only Bar Cocktail that they haven't been able to find on any of the sites. Reading Fireplace, though, statistically and historically has been a very good site for defenders, holding up above in Cocktail. But what we have been able to see a little bit more of is a bit more of that horizontal take, horizontal pressure from teams attacking on Cafes. I guess it's a slight innovation to a degree, Guz, in some way, if we want to go into any sort of talk about it, because in history's sake, it's always been drop top red, sweep across, get control of the top floor, get control of Cocktail, and then eventually drop down Pillar's default plan. But if you go horizontally, it does kind of open up the play a little bit more.
We're going to see the pulse brought out here from Speakeasy, looking to gain a lot of intel, and some of that intel will come through quite early in this round over towards the north, where we can see them rappelling up to the roof, and that early round intel will be critical for Speakeasy to relay to the rest of the team. They can prepare themselves for what eventually will be a top floor clear here from Order. Now, I don't know just how aggressively the defense is necessarily preparing for this push. I don't think it's anything too extreme. Yeah, a small extension over towards Pixel to waste a little bit of time. They've still got that a little bit of a strange castle setup that I don't believe I've seen before in towards Backstore, for example. Mute Jammers scattered around as well to delay intel, and again, Speakeasy still down below, being able to gain a lot of information. So Order need to be very, very careful of their toes here, as C4s could become a threat.
Yeah, pretty standard here for, I think, Invictus' sake, that they've got a lineup that can move around quite a lot and be aggressive wherever they really are, whether it's sort of on this top floor hold or eventually when they do fall back down to the second floor, they can still play somewhat aggressively, especially with the pulse through Speakeasy, getting them so much information, not just now, but even late into the round. Now remember, there's only a minute and a half remaining. This is pretty standard for reading Fireplace. Time is by far and away the biggest obstacle to try and overcome, which is why most of the times you do see teams eventually just drop down into pillars and then go for that default plant, which generally works out pretty well for the defenders. Nitrocell is going to miss the mark, though, from Jordan. And boy, they are just hugging the red stairs. And this is what I'm talking about. They are not looking like they're going for that Cocktail take. They're just going to go down and then horizontally come across, it seems.
I think the initial plan was Cocktail, but they really don't have the time now to commit to that setup from Invictus on the top floor. Really, really strong. Order struggling to deal with it.
He's in.
Maybe Train is exposed, though. Control obtained by Specker, but it won't count for much. Invictus can rotate elsewhere. Luna needs to be careful he doesn't drop as Nico lights him up, trying to get some vert. In the meantime, 40 seconds left. Order do have pillar control, but I'm afraid of their ability to be flanked here by Invictus.
Well, I was going to say, I think that the fact that Specker being able to put a bit of pressure over towards Dining as well does at least mean for Order's sake. And there it is from Train, able to get that kill onto Hysterics. They've got both sites covered from both angles. Joe, though, drops down into Pillar. He got one. That's Diffuser on the ground. But Order have got the angles covered literally everywhere. 4 versus 1. Jordan, the solo player remaining. Order, their ability to adapt on the fly, certainly paying dividends in this round. Nate will get this diffuser down. Specker gets the final kill. He started it. He ended it. Well played to Order.
Yeah, it was well played. There was no doubt they were getting stalled out over towards red. We could see them just absolutely struggling even to get decent control of shop, and the time was just withering down, about a minute to go, and they needed to commit to something else and see if it would stick. It seemed like Invictus had put all their chips, or all their cards on the table, I guess, on that top floor hold, particularly Backstore and Cocktail, for example. They had a lot of faith in that being able to hold out this attack for a long period of time, and maybe there was an oversight over towards Train. It seemed like Specker was able to just crouch walk in. He got good control, which eventually did turn into a pick. And the players in sight there for Invictus were really choked out by Pillar, for example. And even though control was still above from the likes of Joe, maybe they weren't quite applying enough pressure and preventing that breach from being opened and control being held there, because yeah, everyone from Order rotated off, yet Invictus weren't able to play off that vert that they obviously still did have. So not quite sure what went wrong there, particularly for the defense. I guess a combination of a lot of smaller things that didn't work out. But yeah, full props to Order. They were in a really bad spot but brought it back.
I think it also highlights why it's so important to have that plan B, why it's so important to be able to adapt on the fly when things aren't working out. You know what is something else that you can do. In this case, Order was able to execute that, I think, really, really well. And you obviously highlighted Specker. His ability to get into Train for free, to get vision into Dining, there was definitely a large factor in that round. And in the end, Order were able to capitalize. And now they've got themselves an opportunity heading back down for the second time in this opening half to Kitchen Cooking, where they can get a 4-2 lead on the attack on Cafe against the team at the top of the standings. So far, this is the dream first half for Order.
A bomb has been located.
Back down to Kitchen we now go. Order able to win it out last time. It was a 2v1 post plant, and they showed really good composure. It's identical lineup here from the defense. 3 information gatherers in the Echo, Maestro, and the Valk, and then 2 indirect gatherers of intel as well. Speak easy on the Malusi and Joe on the Aruni. So we'll have to see whether or not Invictus can maybe play into that information a little bit more. Order haven't elected to go for an IQ, for example, to maybe try and find it a little bit easier to find intel. Instead, they're sticking basically to the same 5 they have for the entirety of this matchup. And instead of going for Vert, it's another full bakery take here for Order. If they can make it past this Vert established by the defense, then they'll be in a great position to flush outside.
Yeah, and Speak Easy's position there, highlighted by the Observer, sort of highlights how critical he is for this round now defensively for Invictus. They've obviously put all of their eggs into this Vert basket up above to make sure that Order's not going to be able to get into train. But we're going to give them bakery, we're going to give them easy access to cooking. But because our guy's in train, he's going to be able to see everything. They try and push in, he should be able to find the kill. That's what Invictus is playing off of right now, but we'll see whether or not, at some point, Order has to make a call. Do they go and try and flush out Speak Easy, or do you just send it onto site, hope for the best?
Timer continues to tick down. Nico is the first to strike alongside Bailey. Those are 2 great opening picks, and that does mean the players on the Vert now forced to rotate. Hysterics has already gone down
Diffuser.
red, but he does get that diffuser on the ground. If Invictus can play off this, maybe they can turn it around.
And Nate's already used his X-Kairos and opened up everything anyway, so not a big deal losing the Habana at this point. 45 seconds remaining. Luna, low health. Hysterics, low health. How much impact has Speak Easy really been able to help here? He finally rotates down. He finds 2 kills. There's the impact, as I've mentioned it. 35 seconds left. Bailey and Specker, once again, the 2 at the end. Luna and Speak Easy, both low on health here as well. Advantage maybe still on the side of Order.
That nade from Bailey did fall short. Specker trying to get in towards side. The BPC gives away his position, but Speak Easy with his 3rd in this round. He is owning this long corridor and now puts Specker in a very precarious position.
And Specker doesn't have diffuser. Bailey had it, so he's not even going to be able to play off of that as well. Luna, Speak Easy, can just play the hiding game. Knows there's one in Freezer, does catch Luna. Time, though, against him. It's going to be a round win for Invictus. Well played, though, from Speak Easy. He was the Vert player that eventually came downstairs and saved the day.
Speak Easy or Superman? And that has been the storyline of the year for Invictus. Even in their darkest times, particularly in Stage 1, Speak Easy has just been absolutely incredible, posting insane numbers, but it's not just the numbers that he gets on the stat sheet, it's the impact that he has and is felt. It reverberates through the server. If he doesn't step up there, find those kills over towards Long Corridor, the round was over. Order in a great position. They had bakery control. They were flushing out players left, right, and center. They got the first 2 picks of the round. That forced the Vert rotation, and we thought from there's the window of opportunity. Order should be able to claim the round.
Yep.
But no. Speak Easy just pulls something out of nowhere, brings it back, and evens out the half.
And honestly, a deserved scoreline, I think, for both teams. Really good half from Order. They played exceptionally well, and it took a miraculous solo effort from Speak Easy to keep it from being a 4-2 winning half for Order. But nonetheless, it is 3-3. That's credit as well to Invictus and to Speak Easy, especially the last 3 rounds. You're down 2-1, you bring it back on Bar Cocktail and Kitchen Cooking. Reading Fireplace was also a round that was almost like a game of 2 halves within that round. They won the first half, they won that cocktail battle, but Order was able to adapt and win that second half of that round. But we move into the actual second half now. Invictus on the attack, Order on the defense. I don't know who's really favored, I guess, now coming in to the second half. 3-3, both teams playing pretty close. Maybe going onto the defense might be something that Order are going to be happy with here, and how they want to set up and play. Seems like they might be pretty aggressive with the clash and the castle setup.
Yeah, I think Clash is actually really interesting. Talking point, of course, based on Invictus's history of op bans, we don't expect them to take Clash off the board, and as we all know, Luna is super strong on shield operators. But you run the risk of taking on Bailey, who's arguably one of the best Clash/shield players in OS. So this is going to be a really great contest on whether or not Invictus can deal with him, because he could pose a lot of issues on Cafe. There's a lot of choke points where that clash could be tricky to clear.
Opening pick to Spec up. Now he's going to get a bit of revenge onto Speakeasy. And I'm sure he would have liked to be able to do that at the end of last round, but not to be. Still, takes a big piece of the puzzle off the board for Invictus, especially on the attack now, down a player. What up? Can they capitalize on this bar cocktail site? And the clash is going to be a nuisance to get rid of as well.
Joe makes first contact, but it is going to take a team effort here from Invictus to nullify Bailey's impact in this round. There's two ways of going about that. Try and isolate him, find the kill. Plenty of utility to achieve that. Or you could choke out the rest of the team and leave Bailey on his lonesome, where he really won't have as much of an impact as he would like. So you're yet to wait and see which approach will be taken, but with Speakeasy off the board, it's no doubt going to be a tricky prospect for Invictus. They need to try and find something back, but this setup, wow, so difficult to clear, especially in combination with that castle barricade, really funneling these attackers forward.
Attackers located a bomb.
Minute remaining in the opening round of the second half. So far, really well played from Order defensively, but on a site like Bar Cocktail, it's very easy to see a lot of trades swing out towards the last 20-30 seconds, and then the plant is able to get onto site and somehow get it down in the midst of all that chaos. Things can change pretty quickly. Specker and Bailey still playing off of each other over towards Pixel and Washroom. Nate finally goes down, but it's a trade, so it's still an advantage for Order.
Hysteric's critically low. Single bullet will take him out, or the Clash Shield could be his demise. It's Specker, though, to find that kill. Jordan does trade one back, but this position, White Hall, so strong. Clash, though, dealt with. Oh, Bailey's off the board, but Specker once again will go huge. 3 in the round. Leaves Luna for the clutch.
And that's where they've done this round so well, Order, is the ability to sort of play off of each other in that situation. Specker and Bailey, the way they were able to sort of command that area together. Specker is having an amazing game right now, Guz. And Order as well, as a team, are looking pretty switched on here in this match against Invictus. And honestly speaking, that 4-3 lead, it's deserved. They have been amazing to watch here on Cafe.
Yeah, both teams so far are creating some really challenging defensive setups to work around. The castle, in combination with the Aruni, is making some of these walls and areas difficult to open up and clear. The Maestro being on the board in a lot of these rounds as well, providing consistent info for the defense as well, is super frustrating to deal with. Again, we also saw combinations of that with the Valk and even Echo from Invictus, so I have no doubt Order may well do the same. Just across the board, and particularly on that top floor again, Washrooms and Whitehall has just been so difficult for the attack to get control of. We haven't seen either team really achieve it at all. I mean, arguably in the last round we did a little bit, but the remaining defenders were able to get back towards side and win on time or find that final pick anyway, so yeah, this has been quite a strange game for Cafe. I like what we're seeing though, and with Tachanka on the board here from Order, who knows what's next on the menu.
Specker 10-3 through the first 7 rounds has been impeccable, and a huge thorn in the side of Invictus. So service cooking here for the 8th round, an opportunity out for Order to maybe just pull away, because it has been back and forth since round 3, 1 for 1 each time. That Order find around, Invictus have always been able to sort of get one back immediately. Will this be the first time they're able to maybe just pull away a little bit, establish that lead? Invictus, the big detriment in the last round on their attack was definitely losing Speakeasy early on, hindering not only the fact that they're down a player for that basically entire round, but you're down your best player as well.
Talk about Speakeasy, gaining some information on the Gemini over towards the drop. I think it was shot out, or it expired, either or. It's not really much of a POI, or point of interest at the moment, as Order rotating back down, and that does open up the top floor for Invictus. Strangely enough, some reinforcements, in fact, on that top floor, looking to stall out this progression from the attack.
So to note here, the attack from Order on their opening half was very direct into Bakery. There wasn't much pressure at all from Invictus. They went for that vert hold above in train, but you can already see the contrast between the two teams. Jordan and IG having a bit of a harder time being able to just sort of walk into Bakery, open those walls up, and I honestly think that this could be the difference between the two teams here, is that IG maybe going to go for that train position and mining, which obviously you can kind of see they're going to establish, but there's 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. So at this point, you need to be successful within the next 40 seconds or so. Otherwise, it's just going to be a Bakery rush in which Order's going to win that out.
Yeah, Jack that he droned out here needs to be careful of that vert up above. Now him and Nate both choked out a little bit here. Dangerous position that Order find themselves in. Jordan's patience is rewarded. Nate taken off the board. No more smoke babes available. Jack Daddy swings to try and find one back, but his aggression as well will be tamed. That was very unwise there from Order. Well played by IG.
Yeah, well played from IG to punish that. Order getting a little antsy. There was 50 seconds remaining. There was really no need to actually swing out. Invictus were going to make that push, whether they liked it or not, and Order just kind of gave it to them there. But Bailey's been able to sneak out to the Bakery position. Now he got one, he'll get two. Maybe could salvage the round as well. That diffuses down, but Order, down players, down bad, 1 versus 3. 30 seconds remaining, and Bailey now has to push back in through prep and see what's going on site. But I'm pretty sure diffuses in Bakery.
Tell you what, Bailey's going to have to be pretty down bad to bring this round back. It's not looking great. Stuck inside of prep phase. Oh, prep room. Taken down. Yeah, pretty well played there by OG. A bit of a blip on the radar. That Bakery take got a little bit scary. It did take 3 people to throw their bodies on the defense in that room to actually find something, but they did eventually. But yeah, by that point, the damage was already done.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's easy to sit back, criticize, and say, why did they do that? We don't quite know.
Well, I think the reasoning there was Nate was coming alongside Jack Daddy to try and support him in delaying that Bakery push. They knew it was coming sooner or later. The vert was established. We could even see, I mean, they didn't see the outlines, but we do. We could see Jordan outside, hard breach, diffuser in hand. So there's no doubt that IG were going to push that eventually, and Order wanted to maybe find a kill, delay that as long as possible. So honestly, I don't think the macro decision they did go for that was probably not the worst. They just kind of awkwardly went about it and didn't put themselves in a great position to find those kills. So if they had their time again, probably played a little bit differently, maybe play into the utility that was also available, smoke babes, for example, a little bit more if they had their time again. But yeah, I don't think it was the worst play ever from Order.
Well, it does make it a 4 versus 4 and kind of goes back to my original point at the start of the previous round, how every time Order have been able to find a round, Invictus do get the next one. In fact, Invictus Gaming have not found 2 rounds in a row this entire game so far. So they've constantly been playing from behind. Order has been the team with those 1-round leads, but have not been able to extend it out and find, you know, 3 rounds in a row to sort of finish it all off. Could it happen from here? We'll see. Reading Fireplace statistically and historically, as I mentioned earlier in the first half, has always been a good defender-sided round and site. We'll see if it plays out that way.
We are finally going to see the Thinker brought out, which is always exciting, and in the hands of Speak, Easy could do a lot of damage. Talk about damage though, Specker going on a tear. That is kill number 11. By far and away the best inside of the server right now. Luna's taken off the board, which, you know, not the end of the world because Luna's skill, or a lot of it, well, I mean, he's obviously a great player, but a lot of his skill does come down to his ability to lead and manage as well. So him being dead, not the absolute end of the world, but that E1D utility on the line not being available could prove costly, especially as Invictus try to flush out some of these roamers, and they need to try and find a pick back to get that man count even.
Yeah, and that's what I was sort of going to establish there. Losing Luna, yeah, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's still utility loss that they never got to expend, which is not ideal. As yeah, well, it took them a little bit of time. They got one back. Hysterics, though, going to double it up and get one extra and takes out Nico. That's the Tachanka now dead, and advantage for Invictus here with a lot of time on the clock as well.
Spec with a really good Valve cam here could make a call to Nate and go for a Nitro Cell. Nate has it cooked and pre-placed. So now Order praying that someone will walk over that position underneath the hatch. The call will come through in just a moment, surely, but maybe Invictus having some foresight there. I don't know why that was sledged. Maybe it was to try and expose the position down below. Either way, it did bait out that Nitro Cell. Doesn't quite hit the mark as Order would have liked. And now they need to hold out for another 70 seconds. White Stairs is going to be the next point of interest. Hysterics almost gets his third in the round. Jack Daddy trying to hold down the fort. Peeks up, finds Joe, and now can rotate back.
That was the first of 3 uses of the Adrenal Surge from Speak Easy. Just under a minute left. Still has 2 more uses. Wasn't able to save Joe in the end, but it did help at least by a bit of time to try and establish a bit more of a white corridor presence. Jordan, though, nice quick double headshot. Unfortunately for Order, when maybe it looked like this round was not quite out of reach through Jack Dad, Invictus find a way to make it a 3 versus 1. Still 1 extra Adrenal Surge, lots of X-Kairos, flashes, nades. They've got drones. I mean, they've got everything to win this round. 24 seconds, though. That's the one advantage here for Jack Dad to maybe play off of. Swings out into Pillar. Gets that kill onto Hysterics. Jordan is planting. Speak Easy covering over towards Fireplace. And Jack Dad's not going to be able to get there to deny that. 40 seconds left. Needs to retake here in a 1 versus 2. Might just get 1 headshot. No. It was just a body shot, but Jordan got the info. Played off of that at White Stairs. And once again, Invictus able to punish Order, and now, for the first time, find 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, that was really, really well played there. Hysterics over towards the new hatch drop. Well, it's not really new now, but whatever you wish to call it in the current cafe. Able to find those picks on the sledge, the 2 picks, the 2K to bring it back and not only even out the man count, but give IG the advantage was absolutely huge. We could see Order scrambling, maybe trying to find something back with a Nitro Cell, for example, but they just weren't able to do it. And yes, Jack Daddy put up a great effort, White Stairs, and even in the 1v3 to find a kill, just wasn't enough. So a really, really good recovery effort from there, despite Luna dying really early.
Tactical timeout taken by Order. No real surprises there. They've technically now lost 3 of the last 4 rounds, Gus. So it's easy to say that, obviously. They were going back and forth for the large majority of this match. But Invictus, I get the feeling, is just starting to maybe take control of this entire matchup. Order came out of the blocks, won 2 of the first 3 rounds. They were looking great. But Invictus, I think, are just now that professional team where they're able to sort of regroup, regather while the rounds are happening, and now fight back. And now it's their turn to throw a punch. And they've done that with that round win on Reading Fireplace, which, you know, I keep saying in this broadcast that it's such a good sign for the defenders, but it hasn't been defended once.
Yeah. Now, whose tactical was that?
Order.
Was that Order? Okay. Yeah, right. So we really do expect Order in this round to bounce back and be a little bit more composed. I do think that top floor is going to be very difficult for either team to win. Invictus on this occasion, and maybe Order again if we end up going to OT. Just this particular lineup, especially the likes of the Castle and the Aruni to some extent, and even the Maestro getting so much information, is making life so difficult for the attack. Now, it is pretty typical for attacks to start at that red hatch and filter through the rest of the map. But yeah, so challenging to clear out some of these key positions, even once you get past that point, right? You've got washrooms at 90, which we haven't seen either attack really deal with very well. Backstore and freezer as well, tricky with those long lines of sight. So yeah, this is going to be tricky for Invictus. If they win this round, I'm calling the match, but I don't expect them to. I think we'll see this even out if Order can just remain composed and not allow some of the tribulations from previous rounds to really affect their mental.
Well, Bar Cocktail has not been won by the attackers on either side at all yet, so that kind of speaks into what you're saying, especially, and that's not even really taking into account the Bailey Nico setup with the Clash and the Castle and sort of Spectre playing off of Bailey, because then that first half it was defended twice successfully by IG, and they weren't really employing anything like this. They were that pretty much standard approach. I think this has probably been the difference between the 2 teams. Order, you know, you mentioned at the start of this game, Cafe doesn't see a lot of innovation. I think there's been lots of mini innovations a little bit in this matchup, which has thrown things around a little bit. That's a nice little drone in pill up for Hysterics. And I think Invictus, they're bringing the Flores, so they are sensing that there's an opportunity to clear a lot of utility easily around this bar area. Through that Flores, of course, you know, you can't do it on the rappel, and Cafe being somewhat rappel heavy to a degree, but if you're just going to be sitting on the roof, those Rotero drones are going to be quite successful. Losing Bailey that early, though, this is a winnable situation now for Invictus.
Yeah, 100%. I love the lineup here from Invictus. They're bringing the sledge that counters the castle, and you've got those Roteros from Speakeasy, which can, again, deal with castle barricades or even other utility like the barbed wire that we saw earlier, or Maestro Evilize. I mean, Speakeasy just doing it. A masterclass for us at the moment.
Yep.
And yeah, Bailey dropping off on the clash is such a critical point for Order. That is what a lot of their defense hinges on. That's what I'm sure they would have loved to keep on the board once again to feed whoever's playing in washrooms and backstore like they did last time, but they can't rely on that anymore. Invictus now free range of shop. They should get relatively free range of lounge. They just have to be careful of that backstore line of sight. And once they do that, flush out pixel position, for example, they're going to be in a lot of strife. So Invictus in a great position. They just need to take a deep breath, think about their checklist. What do they want to try and clear next, and how they're going to go about achieving that.
And Order has no active utility at all because all of the operators remaining here have already expended their utility generally in the prep phase. Evil Eyes as well. We saw one get eliminated. I'm not sure if there's the second one still up. Then you've got the ADSs. Obviously, they're kind of already in place, right? So you're not really going to see Jack Dad be able to do anything there. Castle or Rooney. But on top of that, they don't even have utility like nades or anything like that. So no C4s. Order are literally just down to holding positions and holding angles, and that's it. And Hysterics able to flush out Jack Dad in washrooms there. He's gone. Luna gets the kill onto Nico. It's just all falling apart. And it all started by getting that initial kill onto Bailey.
Now Nade inside a cocktail with a long angle to try and hold down. It's been a long time since Maestro has had an ACOG. Now he's flashed. Specker trying to support as Invictus send it deep. Speakeasy caught in the cross. Specker, oh my word! The kill feed lights up. Now it's a 1 versus 1.
No.
Nade behind the chassis, swings wide and wins the round for Order. I don't know how they've brought that back, but they've managed to do it.
Oh! Speechless? Is that... Am I allowed to be? I mean, seriously, what a performance to close that round out for Order when it just looked like it was falling apart. I mean, it was the epitome of falling to pieces in front of our eyes, guys. The Bailey elimination early, the onslaught as Invictus were pushing and getting control of Bar. And then Nate's just like, nah, I got other ideas. Crazy. And it keeps Order alive in this game because at the start of that round, you said if Invictus had have won it, you would have called it. It would have been, what, 6-4?
Yep.
Now it's still just open season territory here. The only thing I will say, and it's a big one, Bar Cocktail is the only site that Order have been able to win defensively. Now, in saying that, Invictus was in the exact same scenario in the first half. And they were able to close out on kitchen cooking and end the half, making it 3-3. So far, like, both teams have followed the same script, first half, second half.
Yeah, just casting my mind back to that previous round, I can't for the life of me quite work out why Invictus didn't try and go for some sort of default plant, either behind the main bar itself or one of the mini bars to Order's right, towards Pillar. I just can't quite understand. It seemed like they tried to go for just a deep rush and trade out picks. I think, obviously it went by really, really quickly, so I didn't really get a great chance to even work out what the hell was going on. I just saw the kill feed light up, Specker getting a 2 or 3K, and I was like, oh, wow, that's a thing. Okay. So yeah, very strange round. Invictus, I have no doubt they would have known, like we did, that Bar is being incredibly difficult to attack, and they were in a perfect position to achieve that. And again, in my opinion, probably win out the map as a result. So now they've kind of made that a little bit more challenging for themselves. So we'll have to see whether or not they can hunker back down here.
Such a fascinating match that has quite literally gone back and forth, and I'm glad it has, that it's sort of lived up to the way we kind of specified as to how it could play out, and it's played out that way. Hysterics, though, catching Nico. That's a pretty big elimination. Man advantage now for Invictus. Early EE1D from Luna, who obviously wasn't able to use it last time. Maybe wants to make a bit of use of it this time around. But I think this is the site, guys. Reading Fireplace has been so vulnerable in this matchup from both teams. If Order are to win or go to OT, I think they're going to have to win this round, and they're down a player already.
Joe dealing with Vert now. Putting out that 90 default, and now using breaching charges to expose some of these positions down below. Probably fair to say that Invictus are in a great spot here. Bailey and Specker, though, they are looking and waiting for an opportunity to flank up above. I don't think they're going to quite go for that yet. May have been on the cards, but any opportunity to go for that probably has now disappeared.
Jack Dad just got tagged up by Hysterics on site. Oh, the stairs though. Bailey, you mentioned whether they're going to push up or not. He goes for it. He finds the kill onto Hysterics. No more sledge available now for Invictus, but Joe's able to get the trade through onto Specker. And bakery control could be established as well here for Invictus, and they've still got that one-man advantage. Bailey gets flushed out by Luna. And so far, Kitchen looking like it could be vulnerable to the taking here of Invictus.
Oh, Luna! Oh, shot from behind, but he still wins the fight there onto Jack Daddy, who's been looking quite dangerous. Nate now left inside of service. The last of his gas babes expended, and he needs to hold on for another 25 seconds.
He's got to be careful as well as his backside through Freezer above, and obviously white stairs as well, two vulnerable positions, and Nate's feeling the pinch here, quite literally the pressure mounting. He does know that they're going to go for that cooking plant though, so he has an opportunity to sort of rotate up above, maybe establish vert control, take out those players up above, which he could do, but doesn't. Joe, ready on the trigger. Invictus will gain themselves match point. They will secure at least 1 point at minimum and have an opportunity now to get all three. For Order, they have to send it to OT.
Big round here. Can Order force overtime? That's the question looming. Invictus, they want to close this out, especially after the Knights lost today. If they win now, their lead only gets greater. It's only reinforced further, which is great news for them. They will want to be going straight to that November major. I have no doubt they are still in a position. I think the chances aren't great, but they are still in a potential position to qualify for the next SI. So that's the long game for them. And one more win in the regular stage, well, the regular season of stage 3 for them is one step closer towards achieving that.
Yeah, so far the two teams on 6 points, Invictus and Wildcard. And no disrespect to Wildcard, big win today, obviously feeling good, but I don't think they're a team that's going to be challenging for that top spot. And ironically, both teams actually play each other in Play Day 4, so there you go. If IG can close out here, get all 3 points, then if they can beat Wildcard, suddenly even the closest team to them wouldn't even be that close. That would be like a 6-point gap with 3 play days to go. It would be firmly in the hands of IG. And this just, as you said, puts them that one step closer, especially when there's so many of the teams that have a history of doing well in APAC South. Elevate, Knights, they're playing pretty poorly at the moment. Both of them are bottom 2. So the competition for IG has subsided, and they are just able to sort of part the seas and take their way to that top spot. Still, can they take this match though? Order has been by far and away the best we've seen them since Play Day 1.
Yeah, it does feel like Invictus have been able to spread their wings a little bit here in stage 3. I wouldn't say they've hit full flight just yet, but again, that's the nature of the league. You can never become complacent, and maybe that's something that has set in a little bit for some of the other teams. Hard to get a read on that. Pure speculation, of course, but got to keep things spicy one way or another. Now, in terms of this round in particular, Invictus heading to the roof, looking for a top-down map clear. Some nice pre-placed drones. That's something that I wanted to try and mention a little bit before. And information has played a critical role in this game, and it's not just the defensive operators that we've seen, like the Maestro, the Valk, the Echo, for example. It has been the attack, and these pre-placed drones are allowing for a lot of angles and a lot of rotations to be monitored quite closely by the attack, whether that be, you know, Pillar, for example. We've seen quite a few, or even top 4, making sure that you know how many players are above, if any, so you can go for these clears. And that is an aspect of the game that does unfortunately get overlooked a little bit. The ability to pre-place drones and communicate those properly to the rest of the roster is really, really critical.
Minute and a half remaining. Order have been fantastic. They deserve a point. But are they going to get it? Sometimes Siege is a cruel, cruel game. Sterix has been great. Jordan as well. When Speakeasy's been relatively kept quiet from Order. Spec has been otherworldly in this match. 14 and 7. Has he got one more solid performance in him to at least force OT? This match is not over. E1D, the pressure mounting on that light stairs position though. Joe pushes up. This is going to be a big play here for IG, but it's shut down by Jack Daddy. Specker with a Nitro Cell elimination onto Hysterics. Defensively, Order are standing up to the task here. Specker with the swing, he's feeling it, but he does lose out to Speak Easy. That's the second E1D. One is left. Still some X cards for Jordan. Gemini available to use now for Speak Easy as well. And there's some critically low players for Order.
Can they clear out Bailey though? For me, he's the danger man that Invictus need to clear. He can play Vert up above and behind that shield, pretty well covered from the bar position. It's going to be up to Jordan to try and deal with that, but I don't think they have the time. Invictus forced to rotate with 20 seconds left. Jordan, with the diffuser in hand, needs to come up with a play.
Nate does the one that he does find the play, and that's probably the round as well. This is going to be a default attempt, but there's only the two of them. They don't have vert control in any way, shape, or form. It's OT, guys. That's where we're going.
5 seconds left.
You think that will be the case? Luna does find one on the entry. They almost get entry in towards Dining untouched, but there we go, cleaned up by Order. And this has really constricted this match.
I mean, I think you could just see that one sort of playing out. You mentioned it as well, sort of in the middle section. There was a couple of key pillars there that Invictus needed to sort of take down against Order. They didn't quite do that. Full credit again. Specker coming up big, couple of eliminations, and ultimately I think just the way that Order sort of played that round. And they too have been able to do what Invictus did in the first half in that 6th round, find a defensive round win on a site that they hadn't done outside of Bar Cocktail. In fact, if you even just look at the match tracker, guys, I know you can see it, but it is literally a replication, first half, second half, just flip them the sides, flip the teams. They've both done the exact same thing. So it really says how close this matchup is going into overtime. I got no idea who's going to be able to get the 2 points, but both deserve the 1.
And you look at the records so far, right? 3-3 in both halves, so a 50% attack win rate, a 50% defensive win rate. That, though, does get skewed a little bit in overtime, and I was going to make the point that surely we'll see Bar defended first, right? Perfect record from both teams, but that has just been thrown out the window. I thought that, you know, Order starting on the defense and there being one site that's been very difficult to penetrate would almost lock in the overtime here for Order and put them in a fantastic position, but they've thrown that rulebook out. They don't care about the form guide. They're going to try something a little bit different here. And maybe that was actually in response to Invictus's last attacking effort on top 4 last time. It was actually super clean, right? And they just lost it in the dying seconds with Specker and I believe it was Bailey clutching up, so or Nate rather. So yeah, probably a decent response there from Order, not wanting to, you know, gamble it again on top floor. But honestly, gambling any side is going to be the play at the moment because they've all been pretty 50-50 outside of Bar.
So we head to overtime, our first overtime of the night. In fact, Xenox fun fact for you guys, it's our first overtime of the stage.
Really?
Yeah, I know. We're into Playday 3, and this is our first overtime from all of the matches.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah. A deserved overtime, though. I think this is, you know, there's some cases where you kind of facepalm a little bit, and you're like, oh, how did this go to OT? What has this team done to allow this to happen? But both teams have been great to watch. It's been a really good match from these two, and I would have felt, had Order lost that last round, that would have been quite heartbreaking to not get anything from this, but at least they secure a point, which honestly, with the way this stage is shaping up, that 1 point, even if Order lose from here or Invictus, that 1 point could do a lot. I mean, right now, it takes you out of this little mini-league where 6 teams are on 3 points and puts you into 3rd place on 4. That's what 1 point does, as Bailey finds the opening pick onto Joe.
Almost reaching the halfway point of this round, and Invictus is slowly establishing control inside of Lounge. Pressure inside of Train. Nate dropped. The shot to the leg will be enough to find that kill. Brings back and dissipates any man advantage that Invictus did have 4 versus 4. But can Invictus begin to apply pressure in towards site? They still need to clear out Cocktail, which has proved to be challenging. They didn't achieve it last time, and maybe that is the ultimate reason why they went to this site so confident off the back of their round 12 effort.
Just under a minute remaining. Invictus going for way more pressure over towards pillars and main corridor. Specker, though, he has been sensational and honestly would back him in any fight right now against anyone. The form that he finds himself in this particular round. Definitely just trying to open up this pillar wall. 30 seconds remaining. This, too, is not very conventional. Bailey, he gets caught on the top of that balcony. Now advantage as well for Invictus. This is actually working out pretty well for them, though. Another kill through. Jordan, he's just got 3 quick kills to basically seal this round for Invictus. Probably not the kind of round, guys, you would try and emulate or repeat, but it works.
10 seconds left.
Jack Daddy now, what can he do? Maybe he can deny the plant. If he does, Invictus won't be able to collect it back. Jack Daddy doesn't find where that planter is positioned. Now with the 1v4 post plant, Invictus will no doubt close out the round.
Yeah, it does mean Invictus are going to find themselves again with that match point, just as they had prior to this OT position. The only difference now is that 2 points are only up for grab, not 3. Still, definitely would not be counting out Order in any way, shape, or form.
Maybe I'm being too harsh here, but do we have to? Should we be critical of the site choice there? I know that in round 12, again, Order did win that objective to send it to overtime, but Bar has been flawless from both teams. Now, again, as I mentioned, there was that caveat of Invictus should have won top floor last time, but I don't know. If it's me, top floor is the play there, and Invictus will do that.
Well, if Order go top floor there, they can't go top floor there again in the 15th round. I mean, technically, yeah, I guess it technically means that they could have had this overtime match point position to play off of. But yeah, I don't know. You're right, actually, to some degree. But it does mean if Order win this, then
I can understand both sides.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those ones where it's really tough for as an outsider to understand the reasoning behind that. I see both sides, right? Bar, it's been flawless, but arguably should have been won by Invictus on their last attack, and Reading was just won by Order. So you can understand both sides. Not trying to be critical, of course, but yeah, just something to note.
Well, you were asking whether or not we should be critical, and
because I didn't want to feel too bad. Yeah, I try to be nice sometimes.
Well, we do head to Bar Cocktail, which has not been broken down by an attacking team at all yet. Although, technically, the last time we saw it, it kind of was broken down by Invictus, if not for a late special from Specker and Nate. So it's not as if it's a guarantee, guys. But I will say this, if Order can find the round win here, they too can then, of course, go Bar Cocktail, set up defensively. I'm sure Bailey will not die immediately. That will help their cause, and who knows, then they can win it all. Could be just a big brain play from them. We'll see how their attack goes, though, but this is aggressive from Jordan at top red.
Yeah, talk about big brain.
Ooh, maybe not. I thought he was waiting for...
I thought he was going to wait for it to get popped open.
To get popped open and then throw it out.
You would be expecting Sledge to be used here to open up hatches as Buck is banned, so maybe that's what he was expecting. Oh, it could be even better than that. Zofia needs to be careful, but Jordan blows the Nitro Cell too late. That would have almost been a guaranteed kill, but Jordan does not get the timing right.
Yeah, that was an opportunity presented.
Attackers have located a bomb.
And just missed, though. Still, Jordan has to be flushed out at some point. They're going to obviously have the Geminis, the drones as well, to put a bit of pressure on him inside a shop, which we saw Bailey immediately drop down with that Gemini and get critical information for Order. The biggest issue, and it's been noted already in the rounds that we've seen for Bar Cocktail, it's time management. Being able to clear out the utility and the players just off-site around this cigar area needs to be done in a timely manner.
Yeah, something about this particular objective is harping back to 2019 Util Sync meta. It's been proving to be really difficult for the attack. There we go. Or to try to go for something big. Jordan gets the first, but Jack Daddy immediately follows up. A worthwhile trade there for Order. They get control now of shot, but that's only one step forward. They still need to clear Speakeasy at Piano. They've still got a player at Pixel as well in Luna to try and clear. So it's a good start for Order, but much more to be done.
Time as well, still on their side, but Speakeasy needs to be cleared out of this position. Headshot though on a Specker. He gave him a bit of an eternity. Speakeasy drops out though and just throws his life away to Nico.
Yeah, I think he was low on HP, so maybe a desperation play. That wasn't the worst of calls. Luna, though, needs to retake this position and does so in an aggressive fashion. Oh, okay, that was a little bit weird. A spec bug, I presume. Nico taken off the board. I don't think his recoil management's quite that bad. And now Nate and Jack Daddy need to produce something special or Invictus will claim this map.
Yeah, Nate's certainly capable. He's the kind of player that could definitely pull this off. 2 versus 3, though. Luna still inside of washrooms. Really good position here for Invictus time as well. Hysterics just swings from backstore. Luna does get sort of taken out here by Nate, who is still full health. At least has information on the player around that backstore's position. 15 seconds, though. So time is against him. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have easy access. Hysterics, hello. You just ran straight into the man. That's exactly where you don't want to be. Joe, though, is still inside a cocktail. He actually gives a bit of an advantage and an open here for Nate, but time against him. Joe will hide. Joe, oh my god, still Invictus. Close it out. The GGs? Yeah, I don't know if they realized that they won. That's it. That's over. It's an 8-6 victory for IG, and they remain... I guess 3-0 to start the stage, guys. Not quite 3 points, but still a win nonetheless.
Yeah, Invictus breaking down the damn wall that was Bar and Cocktail. The only team to successfully, I was going to say successfully attack that site, just completely forgot what I said. Look,
that is the most Xenox thing I've ever heard you do. All right.
Look, honestly, the second jab, I got it yesterday.